Welcome back to Unsolved Mysteries of the Reservation. I am Russell Sun Eagle.
I am Tyler Randall.
And I'm Chris Hill.
And we are... No, I'm just kidding.
No. The Avengers again. I thought that was cool when you brought that up that one time. I was like, man.
Oh, on the language?
Yeah. I'm always
the
picturing that. Indian Avengers. Got Biscuit over there. No. Baby doll over there representing the female natives. Like that.
I know, it just kind of came to me. I was like, we're a team. I guess like the Avengers. Oh, man. So today we're going to be talking about haunted dolls. Oh.
She's already nervous. Yeah. Getting nervy.
Well, that's probably good reason. Did any of you guys watch that Conjuring, or not Conjuring, Annabelle movie?
Yeah, I remember. I watched it when it came out, but I still remember it.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I haven't watched it recently.
That's kind of how it was. I haven't seen it in a long time, so my memory of it isn't all that great. But the thing I liked about it, was it talked about the whole thing of it. I don't know if you've seen the first one. I think there's like 3 videos of it. You have Annabelle Goes Wild. I can't remember those other movies. I don't know.
Yeah, I forget there's 3 of them.
Annabelle Comes Home or something like that. Annabelle representing the 90210. Dang, no.
Annabelle Gone Wild.
See her on South Beach. No. No, but I mean, if you watched all those movies, they were pretty cool. I mean, the thing I liked about it was, I know I'm kind of crazy, but people talk about haunted dolls and that topic, haunted dolls. You'll hear a lot of people discussing that. Dolls in general are super old. Even way back in what they call it, caveman times. They even had dolls back then. In many cultures they had dolls, and the original dolls, were made out of rocks, made out of sticks, made out of different minerals, that they would carve into human shape. They didn't look like the dolls today. Even like that Annabelle doll, she don't look like the one in the movie. The one in the movie, straight up scary looking. Mm-hmm. But, if you've seen the real Annabelle, what is she?
Raggedy Ann, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Raggedy Ann doll. So, those type of things. And there's other haunted dolls out there. And I don't know if you guys ever looked, I posted a couple of them on my Instagram and Facebook page. I think there's Robert the Doll, and there's I forget the name of those other ones, but anyway, they're from all over the world, and people utilize them in different ways. And the thing I like to hear, or I guess to hear more about, are when, how you say, they use them to put spirits into them, or beings into them. And to me, I heard the Indian stories, the native stories, but when you're hearing stories from across the waters from these different nationalities, when they have stories like that, you can't help but say, hey, this stuff is real. Even like Europeans, they used to they used to have their own magical medicine ways way back in the day. And when they would create dolls, it was like to represent a child that passed away, and they would invoke, if that child ever wanted to come visit, that doll would be its vessel that it could communicate with them, or and even in different parts of Africa, that same type of mentality was used. They created this doll for this loved one, and they would, you know, if that child had passed away, they would put that doll with them. And if that child's spirit ever wanted to come back, for whatever reason, they could utilize that body, or that doll. And, sometimes, maybe, I know like in, what do you call it? I'm trying to be politically correct, so I don't want to just say Arabs or Arabic country, that was kind of, also practiced as well.
Middle Eastern.
Yeah, there you go, Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
So we'll say that they have old ways like that still practiced today. And you go down to Peru and South America, they still practice those kind of things. And then of course you see Ghost Adventures went to that. Was it that haunted doll island there in Mexico? So you hear a lot of stories like that. And the thing, for Native Americans, the thing that I like also to hear is, how these different dolls are being used. And, today, I know a lot of that kind of knowledge has been forgotten. And I know that for sure because you see these dolls all over the place, these original dolls. And, like for the 5 tribes, they used to do a lot of things with different herbs, but nowadays you'll see these corn husk dolls. You'll see them everywhere. Travel Plaza, everybody's making them. They're putting these keen outfits on them, things like that. But I've asked some of these corn husk doll makers, do you know the original stories behind? Oh yeah, I learned this in off the internet how to make it. And a lot of these guys, they say, well, yeah. She said, I know it's old, but I'm just using it as art. And I think that's cool. That's awesome. But those original dolls, like those corn husk dolls, for Muskogee Creeks, they use those because for good luck, or to do things that are impossible. For example, maybe you had to get a message clear, across the U.S., and you called upon this doll. You would create him or her, and you would bring it to life, and you would put a spirit into that, and send it to do what it needed to do, whatever task that was. And that was kind of the original ones that they used to use. They also have a herb that they used to make these dolls out of as well. And up at north, you'll see these kind of dolls again. They're all in the gift shops, and you'll see them here and there in museums, and this herb that they use, you even hear about it in European history books, and it already has the shape of a human. It has the legs and the arms, and some of them, because of the stem, it has a head, and they would bring that to life, use it for different reasons. But nowadays, I would say probably in the 50s, 60s, maybe even the 70s, it kind of turned bad. They're bringing these things to life to witch people. And instead of these good spirits they put into them, they call upon these evil ones to take form into that, or how you say, what's the word I'm looking for? Not infested, but oh, possess. They're trying to possess those dolls and with those evil spirits, and those things do bad things. They were created to do the most evil thing. Especially in Creek Seminole country, you'll hear people saying, "I went to sleep and I woke up and I was all scratched up," or they seen or heard something they thought was what Russell calls LPs.
Little dudes.
God. And they'll see them run, or hear them on top of the house. But then you hear these guys pass away from a heart attack in bed or in their sleep, they say. And that's, where if they've been telling you, they've been hearing this all along, that thing has came and did its job. And these kind of things, like I said, I've asked, several of these doll makers, I just curious if they've heard the stories behind these, dolls. And, I haven't found one yet to really tell me, the true history behind those dolls. Not that I know everything, but I want to hear their version in case they heard something that I didn't hear, But, these are the things that was told to me, that these things were real, that they were live, entities and things that, were utilized. And, the only ones that I know that are prominent stories still in Indian country today, are those Kachina dolls, and they were kind of, the way the story was told to me, whether, I don't know if it's true or not, because I'm not Pueblo or I'm not Hopi, those are, the majority of the tribes or Zuni, I believe, Zuni, Pueblo, and Hopi. I believe those guys are the ones that, majority make those Kachina dolls. And like with us, you had some good ones. You had some that, could help the elements, like rain, and different things, but then they got some that were meant for evil. And, the story that I was told that I always like to hear was during that, what do they call it, Pueblo Revolt. I don't know if you heard about that. I know you was going to school down there in Santa Fe. I know that was a class. I know maybe one that you skipped.
You skipped that day.
Guess I slept in that day.
But that they said that Pueblo Revolt. When what was it? I guess the Mexico or Spanish. I guess it was Mexico. Was enslaving those Pueblos and really causing hardship on the Pueblo people, and they finally mustered up. And there's a lot of Pueblos there, just not one group. I think what they got, like 18 different Pueblos. Forgive me if I'm not getting this right, but this is I'm trying to do my best, so I'm not. Don't mean to offend anyone, but again, there were a lot of different Pueblos out there, and I was told that they used those Kachina dolls as messengers from each Pueblo to help organize that revolt. And when it was done, they all had a plan and they all did it, and it was so that's kind of one of the stories I like to hear when you go down towards Santa Fe or New Mexico way, and I'm sure there's other stories out there, and I'm sure I'm not telling it right. So again, I ask for forgiveness for not, might have left something out. I don't know. So anyway, but that's one of the stories I like to hear, you know. And I know here in Oklahoma, they have a large, well, I won't say large, but it's pretty good size Kachina doll collection. I guess that's what you might say at the used to be called the Atlow Lodge Museum down there in Bacone College in Muskogee, and it had like a little glass case of a whole bunch of different Kachina dolls. And I used to like to go in there and look at them, and you know, and try to study them. And again, you know, they always said, you know, don't take pictures of it because you know those things, they like to change their face, you know. So I never did it. So you know, I was always respectful because they said those were old medicines from those people from down that way. And so anyway, you know, I was always respectful, but you know, I always, you know, if you want to see a collection of those Kachina dolls, you know, Muskogee's not too far from Tulsa, so you know, I don't know if that museum's still open or if they still have that exhibit, but last time I checked, they did. So
I know of another place, Bartlesville, Woolrock.
Oh,
Up
okay.
at Woolrock, they have a good collection up there too. And same thing with you. I see people taking pictures of that, or the kids. You know, they sell them in the gift shop or whatever, and
Oh yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like, it makes me uneasy. I mean, I like to go there and look at them, but like, I don't linger too long in that area. You know, up at Woolrock, because it just makes me uneasy. But I had a story of a friend of mine was curating a collection of Kachina dolls, and they were kind of, I guess, marketing them or cataloging them, I guess, and then getting ready to put them on display. And they all came in like this box or whatever, and it was like after hours because they couldn't, you know, do that while people were there. And she said at first, like, they were just kind of marketing or cataloging or doing whatever they do. She heard like a clicking noise, like somebody clicking their tongue, you know. And they're like, "Man, did you hear that?" And she's like, "Yeah, I think I heard that too." And they just ignored it. And then before too long, she said that you would hear those dolls whistling back and forth at each other and like clicking. They were like communicating between the dolls. And she was like, "It's time to go."
Whoa.
It's time to pack up. That was probably 10 or 15 years ago, probably. Wow. So I believe it. I mean, I know this stuff is 100% real, that those spirits are alive in those dolls, because, I mean, when she's telling that story, you know, you could tell she was freaked out, like, you know, but.
Whoa. Well, I don't know. I've always been like, ever since I seen Chucky, like, I always thought something like that could become alive. You know, like, as a kid, you're just kind of like, I don't know. I remember seeing Chucky, but that's the whole. I didn't understand. I just thought it was a doll that came to life. But when you get older and you watch it, you realize it's a crazy dude that does. Was it voodoo?
Voodoo, yeah.
Yeah, he put his own soul into that little doll, and so when you get older, it's like, oh, so he did some sort of, you know, craft to do that, and what his whole like goal is to then do it again to Andy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. His whole goal is to put himself back into another human. But there's like, what, 10 movies?
Well, the reason why he had to pick Andy was because he was the first person he revealed himself to.
Oh, really?
So yeah, that's why he's like attached to that kid, because he told Andy the secret, and now he can't. So that's who he has to.
Who he has to
put himself back
transfer.
into. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, like, I got that part when I grew up, but I don't know. It's just like, you know, it's a good movie to watch.
Yeah.
I think the first one and I think the second one. I didn't really like the third one.
But then by the time you get to him getting married and having kids, the seed of Chucky.
Yeah, didn't he have a bride at one of those?
Yeah, he got
those
married.
Yeah, he got married.
He had a kid.
I think the very last one is he had a kid.
Yeah.
And they're living in Hollywood.
I like the last one though. Was like with this kid. Like he wanted his kid to be like a murderer, and his kid's like, I don't want to do violence, and he's just like mad at his kid. Like it was like beating his kid. It was like, you're no son of mine. Like crazy.
That's messed up.
Oh yeah, when they got to that point, I was just like, all right, this is pretty funny now. Like I'm not afraid of. He's just a family man.
Yeah. It was just like any of those others, like by the time Freddy's got like the chef hat on and, a nightmare. But anyway, they get goofy after a while.
He started running around with that Raggedy Ann doll, too.
Cheating on his other one.
Hey.
Were these dolls, I didn't mean to cut you off, but were these dolls, were they traditionally all made from corn husks, or were they made from different kind of plants?
Yeah, they were made from different types of herbs, and the reason that they would use those different herbs or, like corn husks was because they came from the earth, and this is something that a lot of people, I don't know how you say, this is kind of knowledge that you won't hear nowhere else, was those dolls were made from things that came from the earth, like I was telling you, those certain type of herbs or these certain kind of sticks, like grapevine type herbs, that thing grows like that, in the ground, and some of these other sacred herbs, because it all came from the ground. And those old Indians believed that you and I, we come from the dirt. And when we pass on, we go back to the dirt. So if we want to create something alive, we've got to utilize that dirt and things that come from the dirt. And that's where you get the corn husk or these certain other herbs and vines and things to bring these things to life, because they're like us. They got life, and so with that right incantation, you can use it for good, or you can use it for evil, or you could use it just like Chucky, get that babe from over that way.
Have a family.
I know I had that family of dolls. No, I'm just kidding. But no, like I was saying, those Europeans, when they created those dolls originally, they were for, maybe those children that passed away, and maybe they wanted to come home or send a message, or if they were around, they had, something that they could utilize, and they weren't like Chucky, but, if, let's say like that doll, like Robert the Doll, that was kind of the similar story. I don't know if you guys read about it, but it was a gift. I want to say from a grandpa or somebody's dad, and gave it to his grandson, and there's like multiple stories, different stories on that Robert the Doll, but the gist of it, somebody gifted it to that young man, and it came from somebody that lost a child, and that doll would get up, move around, and they try to put it up in the attic, and they'd find it back in that boy's room, and there's several different stories of that doll, and it makes sense to me because I know a lot of nationalities use dolls for that, to give that spirit vessel to utilize, and whether you consider that good or bad, I don't know, but I do know there was good reasons for those, but also there was a lot of bad. I always was told that a lot of these medicines that the Creator gave us was all for good, but it was man that made these medicines evil, and so again, I know a lot of these dolls, uh, weren't always used in a good way, but it wasn't just an Indian thing too. There's a lot of stories that come down from South America about those dolls, and those people. I don't know how you say how traditional they are today in 2022, but even up to the 80s and 90s, you still had a lot of tribes down there that were still pretty traditional down there, and so they still had their ways because they speak their language and they know their medicines, and some of them just stay in those jungles. They are not colonized like the American Indian is today. And so they have those kind of stories and those things. But I don't know if they might be colonized too now. They might be all working at McDonald's. No, I don't know, but I don't know, but I heard stories, from that way, and I used to go to all these like conferences of different nationalities, and they had a group of those guys come up, and me being me, I'd always go and talk to them, and a lot of those guys, they didn't speak English, so I always had to communicate with the what do you call it?
Translator.
Yeah, translator or interpreter. But even that interpreter, he would have difficulty, getting the story across. But most of the stories I got from him, and I would ask him, different specific things, and one of them was because I knew, some of those tribes, they practiced what they call it, shrinking heads, shrunk heads, and they stuff like that. And I was always curious about stuff like that. So how you get that guy's head down to like, because that one guy, no, and y'all all know who I'm talking about. No, got head like, but anyway, one of the stories they told me was, that they also, would war with different tribes, and and sometimes they would have to bring to life, these little beings. And he talked about how they would carve it out of a certain root, and they would bring it to life, and it would go and attack that other village. But what I thought was cool about those stories was, again, these were tribal people, and they had their own ways too. So you would bring one to life, and those guys would bring one to life, and they would clash. And even when they didn't clash, maybe that one would get to their enemy and take them out, and this guy would relax, and the one that one of the opposite side would eventually get this guy, so they would X each other out. And they said, they still utilize that. I don't know if he was joking with me or not, but I took him very serious because, these guys had, stuff on them. You could see what medicines they had on them. You didn't even have to know about medicines, because these guys, when they came up, they were the real deal. They weren't no made up, on the internet type Indian guy. These were the real deal. And I thought those stories were pretty cool, especially, hearing about them things battling it out with each other. And again, if you grew up around Creek country or Seminole country or even Cherokee country, you've always heard people battling out like that. So those aren't new stories, from this area. You always heard, someone would bring something, and the other person would try to match him or overpower him. And the thing that people forget about this kind of stuff, this is what was told to me, was that if you ever bring one of those to life and utilize it on somebody, that once it's done with its job, you have to take care of it and send it back from where it came from. Because if you don't, it'll come for you. Mm-hmm. And, once it takes you out, eventually its vessel will wear out and its spirit can roam. And I was told that there's a lot of spirits like that because of people not putting those things back. They're out roaming around, possessing people, getting into homes, and to me, that is very scary in itself. If you really sit there and think about that, you do evil, eventually it comes for you. And so, that's what I was told on a lot of those stories. I told this one story at one of these events, and it was kind of my experience, but I didn't really go into a whole lot of detail on this story. And if you guys want to hear this one, I can tell it again. If you guys want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, your dog said no. No, go. So keep that to yourself, she said.
I'm gonna put her out back.
No, what? Anyway, okay. The story that I told, I was working in Florida at one of those reservations, those Seminole reservations, and they had like housing for me up there, and their housing was different. A lot of them didn't really have heat or AC. I mean, they did, but they didn't. It was like they would turn it on for you and turn it off, And a lot of times it was, pretty good weather down there, so you didn't really need a whole lot. A lot of times you could just open this. They had these windows that were like that, and you would just slide it open, and it was up on the ceiling part. Mm-hmm. And so when I would go to bed, I'd open it up, and I'd lay down, and for a couple of nights I kept feeling like something was staring at me, and I didn't really think anything of it because I was in a new area. I was always kind of jabingly like that, what Greeks call kind of spooky, scared, or skittish, I guess that's what you might say. And anyway, it kind of kept going on, and yeah, I know it was like my second or third month down there, and at night I just couldn't get to sleep. I just have this uneasy feeling, and it was just getting worse and worse. And one night, for some reason, I'd always sleep to my back towards that window. I was just always comfortable on my left side, but for some reason this evening I rolled over onto my right side, and I was looking up at that window, and I seen this little stick figure sitting there waving his legs like that on that window sill. And man, when I saw it, I thought, man, am I hallucinating or what? And I stopped, and I was watching it kind of sway its legs back and forth, and then it kind of clicked to me, and I said, man, that can't be what I'm seeing. So I jumped up, and I turned on the light, and it was gone. And I thought, well, maybe I'm just stressing out. I know when I get to new places, it's hard for me to get comfortable. Plus, I'm trying to figure out a lot of things while I'm there. Like my job and all the things I got to do. There's a lot of stress on you. So I thought, well, maybe I'm just whatever. So a couple nights went by. Same thing happened. I rolled over. I seen it setting up there. And this time it stood up. It stood up on that ledge, and I seen it, and it leaned over, and it really took a good look at me. And then it jumped out that window. And of course I got up, turned on my light, and I went outside, went around the building to see, if I could see whatever it was. And I had creeks and Seminoles, we're all kind of related one way or the other. And I had an uncle down there. He kind of was living around those guys down that way, and I talked to him, and he told me, he said, well, somebody, must not like you, and so, he told me what that thing was. It's something, come to terrorize you, to make you sick, make you lose your mind. And he said, I'll give you something and take care of those things for you. And sure enough, I did what I was told, and the individual that had sent that had passed away, not too long after that. And my uncle said that would be it. That's what's going to be. He said there'll be telltale signs on who it was. And so, anyway, that was my first experience, dealing with that. But that wasn't my last time I dealt with that. But anyway, that was the story.
Whoa.
How old were you when that happened?
I must have been about 28,
Dang.
29, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So.
Just a few years ago then.
Yep. Last year, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
6 months ago.
But
Dang, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's so it was just like a little stick figure, like a little stick person. I guess.
Yeah. He said, down that way they used, of course, a certain kind of root down that way, to fashion, and it was their medicine ways, I guess, down that way. So, and for creeks, that's our old country, so that's old ways down that way for us. So, I was scared about it, but also was fascinated, because growing up, I always heard these kind of stories, and to actually see it, of course, knowing that someone was trying to get me was kind of scary, but to actually get to see one of those things, I thought was pretty dang cool.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like these things, whether it's Stajupko or the haunted doll, they sort of they hide in the shadows. Do you think that just sort of all plays into am I seeing what I'm seeing, or is that just my mind playing tricks on me, or is it just a shadow? You know what I mean? Does it kind of mess with you that way too? Confuse you or make you doubt yourself?
It's there to drive you insane.
Right.
And, to answer your question, yes, but no, because those things will torture you day and night, if they really know what they're doing, bringing these things, because this thing don't rest, it don't sleep, and it don't eat, so on your weak points, like when you're asleep, them things are probably around if it's sent for you. That's why I say, you'll hear stories, people go to bed all scratched up, they'll wake up all scratched up, or, they have weird things happen, and, or they'll dream crazy dreams till they lose their mind, or you'll hear about them dying in their sleep. And, again, there's telltale signs that somebody sent one of those things for you. But it's us that don't know those telltale signs of what's going on.
Yeah. See, I got to be honest. Like, it's weird because like you go to bed and then like every once in a while, man, I'll wake up and I will have a weird scratch that I can't get to. Does that make sense? Like it'd be like a line that goes up in the middle of my back, and like I don't even know that it's there. I don't know how it got there. I mean, it's just like I got one right now, and like I can't even reach it. Like I can barely reach it, but not enough to make that kind of mark. You know what I mean? Like if I could reach it, it would be going sideways or it'd be going horizontally. This one goes straight, like almost in the middle of my back. And that's weird and that happens quite a bit, you know?
Well, there's telltale signs. And like I said, you're experiencing one of those telltale signs. So, you know, if you got people to go to, I would definitely wouldn't hesitate, you know, to go see them. Have that, you know, taken care of, because what I always say, people don't go get help till either it's too late or it's already taken them. And you got the telltale signs now. So, I mean, if I were you, you know, if you have somebody, I'd definitely go see them, because you're at that point, you know, where you go much further, it's going to get worse. And you don't want that.
Does it hurt?
I don't even like, I mean, it doesn't hurt, but like, I just know that it's there. I'll wake them up with on my leg. Like, I got one on my leg now. Like a little mark or a little scab on my leg. Like, you know what I mean? I cut my toenails, but tell my wife to cut her toenails.
So is she punka? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, she's Cherokee, so.
God, that's even worse. No, probably got those 4-inch toenails, boy, sticking out like that, boy.
Rip.
That's proof right there. Let's see her feet. No, I'm just kidding.
Those aren't hooves.
Man, say all your sheets all stripped up. Can't keep new
Buy
sheets.
new sheets every time we go to Ross.
That's right. Bob, but I mean, serious. Like I mean, I never even put two and two together. I mean, I get them quite often. I mean, just weird scratches on my back. And it wouldn't be a thing, but like, they're where I can't reach.
Do you have dreams? Do you have like vivid, weird dreams or no?
Not really. I mean, I wouldn't say anything like out of the ordinary, not like creepy dreams or nothing like that. Just, I don't know. And my wife will even say like, how'd you get that scratch on your back? And I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, I have no idea.
Like I said, you know, that's one of the telltale signs, the scratches. Then, you know, you'll start seeing things, shadows, and, you know, or you'll start having weird dreams. That's like the next stage, you know, and then you just won't sleep, and then you'll start getting suicidal thoughts and get real depressed. And that, when it reached that point, then you're pretty much too far. You know, that's the telltale signs, you know. And that's kind of a telltale signs for a lot of these witching things, you know, and you know, these haunted dolls, you know, throughout Indian country, you know, they're real. I mean, I don't know how many tribes still practice it. You know, I can't say, but, you know, like I was saying, that was my first time dealing with that, you know, and I was working up north, and I'm not going to say the tribe, but I was working up north, and I started kind of getting to hang out with a lot of the guys and girls down there, and they would have like singing practice here and there, you know, and I'd go check it out. And I was always interested in, you know, songs, you know, because a lot of tribal songs have a lot of meaning, a lot of sayings, and a lot of history value. And so, you know, anytime, you know, there's singing going around, you know, of course, me growing up Creek, I kind of knew that, you know, around Muskogee people, our songs have a lot of meanings to it, you know, and so I used to hang out, you know, and I had someone give me a bear, teddy bear, and I thought, well, that's cool. I appreciate it, and took it in and set it up on one of my counters. But dang, after I got that bear, man, I tell you what, I would have the worst luck. I mean, it just seemed like everything was going bad, at work and after work, and my financial situation, it's just like I could never have enough, and it's just like I was broke all the time, and it was getting bad. And anyway, I used to go see this old man up there around their reservation, and he was a good old guy. He'd tell me stuff, and he would give me a lot of songs from their people, and he liked that I was always coming around and doing good things. I'd help out with what I could help out with and stuff. And so I opened up to him. I talked to him. I said, man, I'm gonna have to go home, earlier than expected. I said, because man, I'm having bad luck after bad luck. And he said, well, I tell you what, he said, my brother, he knows things. And he said, I'm going to invite him over to meet you, and I wanted you to meet him anyway, but, I think you really need to see him. And so, anyway, I said, okay, that sounds good. And anyway, that his brother came, I think it was the next day, and we went out to eat, and we went back, and I was getting ready to ask him about ghost stories and stuff. And that brother of his, started asking me questions. He said, did someone give you a gift? And I didn't really think of it at the time. I said, I don't think so. He said, I think somebody gave you something. He said, because I can see things working on you. And he said, I believe it's a bear. And right when he said that, everything clicked. And he said, bring that item to me. He said, bring me some tobacco, and I'll take care of this thing for you. He said, everything will be good for you after this. So I went back to my place and came back, and he got that bear, and he had this old kind of like like a hunting knife or something, and he stuck it in that bear and ripped it open, and sure enough, there was some roots, hair, and red cloth inside that bear. And he took it out, and he said, that was meant for you. And he put it down. He said, these Indians around here, they're very jealous people, and they don't like outsiders sometimes. And he said, for that, he said, sometimes we have to look after one another. And so I thanked him, and I appreciated that, and after he took care of that thing for me, I was always real appreciative to him and his family. And even to this day, if that family ever calls upon me for anything, I'll do my very best to help them out. So
that's crazy.
That's scary.
That is so scary.
Wow.
That's like some you see on a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's another movie, Chris.
Yeah, they do need to make movies like that. I think that'd be pretty crazy. But I'd say 30 years ago, you would even hear stories like that at these big dances. People throwing stuff all over the place. I mean, you hear about it now, but it wasn't as prominent as it was 30 years ago. And anyway, I know these dances that they have today, they're more all competitive, not really ceremonial type, so I don't know how much is actually being thrown out there. It might be even more because you got money on the line, so I don't know. So, but I know they got stories like that around Pawnee too.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Whoa. Yeah, I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything. I just I don't know. It's just growing up. It was just random stuff, from everywhere, I guess. And then that's where, I don't know. It was just random stuff. And then there's just movies I'd watch, and I'd be scared of that too. Because as a kid, Mom let me watch Chucky and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and all these scary movies, and you're scared to go anywhere because Oklahoma's it looks like a dirt road everywhere, right? And then that's where the Texas Chainsaw Massacre happened, was out in the middle of nowhere. So when we'd go to Red Rock or something, it looked like, oh God, this is that house. Leatherface is here. And I mean, it's just or Unsolved Mysteries, you see the Alien episodes, right? So we'd be driving at night, and I'd always be freaked out about aliens abducting us or something. It was just a bunch of random stuff I was afraid of. And then going out at night about the orbs and the little dudes, DW. I mean, there's all this stuff just in my mind. I'm staying in. I'm not going out at night.
Do y'all got y'all's tablet or phone with y'all? I got a movie that you guys need to watch. I mean, it's super scary. It's called Pokemon. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna already type that in.
God, no. Pokemon's Revenge.
Toy Story.
Now,
Small soldiers.
I don't know how to spell this, so you're on your own. But it's called Manitou.
Oh yeah, with Tony Curtis. Is it Tony Curtis or Tony Randall's in that? I think I saw that a long time ago.
I can't remember who all's in there, but that's a super old movie. But that's a movie you ought to watch, and it has about Indian medicine, and it's pretty cool. I mean, they got cheesy effects, but this was made in the 70s?
Yeah,
early 70s.
It's the one I'm thinking of.
Let's see, pull it up. See.
Hang on a second. Oh man, let me get it. Well, I had, when I did the Clear Cut episode, they were talking about that. Or that movie came up a lot. Tony Curtis. It's from 1978.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen the whole thing, but I was watching clips of it.
They don't have no haunted doll in there, but I still think it's still pretty cool. They got an old ancient Indian from way back. He come out and he wanted to babe up. No.
Well, I did do that movie Ghost Dance, and it had nothing to do with the Ghost Dance trials or or whatever. But in that movie, he does use a little doll too, like a little voodoo doll, on this cop, I guess, that's chasing him, and he is hitting it with this arrowhead and sticking it in his back, and then it's more like a voodoo doll that you would. But it's in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys keep mentioning voodoo because, if you know the history of that voodoo and hoodoo, then you'll know it come from Pawnee. No, I'm just teasing. No, it came from, those tribes that were down towards Louisiana and Florida, area. They intermingled their mojo or their mystic abilities with American Indian stuff. And that voodoo doll is one of the prime examples. They used it back home and we used it here. Mm-hmm. They combined it, and that's history right there. I mean, they used it again for witching, and And my understanding, though, it was originally used for health purposes. I talked to a few of those voodoo practitioners, and they kind of said that old saying, they were created in the beginning for good things. If you had an ailment, they would use that doll to take it off you. And but then somebody got mad at somebody and started putting those needles or bad things on it, and started hurting people that way. And so I know there's a lot of history out there. When it comes to this, there's so many cultures out there that use the same way. And what I think is scary, and this is just me, this is just my opinion. And so, I don't mean no disrespect to anybody or any tribe out there, but, I know, like, for us, we're losing those things. We're losing those abilities to do these kind of things, but you got these, I don't know what you call it, new age people practicing. They call it witchcraft or Satanism, and they're doing these things, and they think it's a game, or they think, oh, I'm gonna be a witch, I want to go and do this, and I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna control this being, but like I said before, you're never in control of those things. You're lying to yourself. You think you're in control. I don't care what nationality you go to and they talk about these type of things, they'll tell you right up, once it's done, you can better put it back or it's coming for you. And so it doesn't matter if you created it. It's not going to listen to you. It's not going to obey you. Only thing it wants to do is take souls and be free. And it's going to, cause havoc. And I see, a rise in people that's doing these kind of things that aren't even Indian, and what scares me is, are they getting taught that part where once it's done its duty, you put it back, or they're letting it run wild and free, because, that's what's scary to me, because I heard, some statistics on, that, the Church of Satan, they say, they're not really like what you think, but, they have their own, I guess, beliefs and ways, and they don't really believe in Satan himself, but, they just believe in doing what benefits you, and I'm sitting there thinking, man, that right there, just what they said tells you that evil's already corrupted them. Yeah. They think they're in control, but that thing's got them all blind. So.
The way I've always heard it explained was just like it's a belief in free will. Like you can do whatever you want. Like don't, it's just whatever. It's your own rules, I guess. Like if you go too far, if you set your own standard or whatever. So I don't know. That's just kind of what I've always heard about it. Yeah.
So I mean, you start looking at stuff like that, it's that old saying, it's gonna get you, and it's got them. So they think, oh, we're just gonna free will or whatever. But if that was so, then why do you do it that way? Every human being out there believes in good and evil. And I don't care who you are, even if, like I said, even if you don't believe in a God and devil, you still believe in that good and evil, and it's prominent out there. So I don't know.
Yeah, there was a while ago, it was a TikTok. I don't know if you ever watch TikTok, Chris. I don't know if you do either.
I don't have TikTok.
No.
But it's crazy the amount of stuff people post on there. There was a guy on there, I guess he went live, a while back. I think he was alive, but there was snippets cut out from the video he was doing. But he did some sort of ritual, and it's like the 7 something. You do 7 things, and this thing will come out. Anyways, it's you circle yourself with salt, and you stand in it, and you do like some kind of chant or something, and everything's pitch black, and you got candles lit everywhere. This guy's on live, and then he's like talking to the camera, and he's doing this, and he's like just playing around, like not taking it serious or whatever. He's just doing it to do it, I guess, for live. Anyways, like he's doing it, and then all of a sudden, like I think he's in an apartment, and there's this light like behind him or in front of him, so it's casting a shadow. Anyways, he has the phone up, and he's talking, and he's like, nothing's happening, like, you know, this is BS or whatever. And then anyways, like he's not really paying attention, and there's like this shadow behind him, but he can't see it, but everybody on camera can see it. They're like, what's that behind you? It's like this hunched over thing. And then like he doesn't see the comments because they're going so fast. There's so many people in that thing that they're going so fast, and finally he sees something, and right when he sees that thing goes away, and I guess it was there for a while, and then he was like, there's nothing there. Like he's looking behind him, and he's like, there's nothing there. And so they're like, it's right there. And then anyways, like I guess when you do that stuff, you have to finish it. Like you have to start it and you have to finish it. Anyways, there's like let's say he's in here, in that hallway. There's another light in that hallway, and there's this thing that starts throwing stuff around in his room. It's out of nowhere, and it's like a shadow thing, and it peeks out, like it's peeking out at him, and he's like talking to it. He's like, hello? Like, who is that? He's like, I'm here by myself. And then that thing's like peeking out, and then somebody's like, tell it to come out. He's like, no, like I don't want to. And then finally he starts like saying like, come out, and he steps out of that circle or whatever. And then like the chat's like, don't do that, like you're not supposed to step out of it because that's your protection or something. And then he's just like saying like, as soon as he steps out of that thing comes out actually, and it starts walking towards him, and it's not like walking, like it's like floating, like it's really weird. And it comes this way, and it shifts into the kitchen, and it ducks or something, and it's like throwing stuff around in the kitchen, and somebody's like, you got to get in that circle and finish it because it won't go away. And his dog's freaking out, and he like turns the light on, and the light just shuts off, like his power shuts off. And they're like, you got to finish. And then like as he's freaking out, the stuff in the kitchen's like getting louder and louder. And then I guess his live cuts off or something. And that was that. Like, I don't know if he finished it or not. I didn't look into it, but.
And that was the last TikTok that he ever did.
I think so. I think it was. But that video was like, there's snippets of it going around on that. And it was just like, and it just put up to that last part of it cutting off. But yeah.
I think I will have to start checking out that TikTok, you know, and
there's a bunch of, I was going to send you guys stuff too, but I don't think you can view it unless you have the app, because you can download it and I could send it to you guys, but I don't think you can actually look at it because there's so much stuff people post on there, paranormal. I mean, there's so much, like, it's called like ghost talk and paranormal talk and cryptid talk. And I mean, it's interesting what people around the world are putting on there.
Okay. I know the only reason I haven't really dealt with it, and it might sound crazy, but all I ever heard was people doing twerking and all that kind of.
Oh yeah, there's that.
That kind of stuff. I was like, damn, we were watching all that.
We want to see you twerk.
Right here, right now, I want to do it. No, I'm just kidding.
That's on the Patreon. If y'all want to check that out.
It's on the private page.
But if they got stuff like that on there, I'll definitely check it out.
It just depends on your algorithm. Like you'll see that when you get on there. Like since you're so new, you'll just see a bunch of random stuff. But that's what it was when it first started. It was like dancing, and I was like, this is stupid. But as as the year went on,
I heard there's 20 videos of Russell Sun Eagle. No,
as the year went on, though, you started like, because I started liking like conspiracy stuff, and then like wrestling stuff, and then ghost stuff, and then just and then like there's like friends on there too. Like there's natives on there all over from Canada, everywhere. Like native talk. There's all kind of natives on there. Like natives run that app actually. Like they run that shit. So I mean, but right now it's like, I think it's a little bit of conspiracy. It's like, I don't know if we get into that, but it's interesting to hear like theories about different stuff that was probably planned or not. I don't know. I won't get into that. But I mean, there's Bigfoot stuff on there.
That's all you got to say.
Yeah. There's a guy that films him.
Is there a Bigfoot twerking?
At Boogie Creek.
Oh, Boogie Creek's on there.
Ah.
I don't know if you've seen a video, but I think he's up north somewhere, but he films actual, I don't know if this is real or not. I don't know if you've seen it, but he films actual Bigfoots, and he zooms in on them, and there's one like eating like leaves and stuff, and it's like looks like a face of a man, but it's like a ginormous head, and you can barely see it because it's like so, like he's so camouflaged in. Until he zooms all the way in, you could see the face, the eyes, and he's munching on some like not grass, but like leaves or something.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I have to. Send me the name of that. I'll look it up and see. I know you're talking about Bigfoot. I've been watching this one. I think it's called Alaskan Monster or something like that. And man, I tell you what, out of all those Bigfoot shows, I think this one's probably the keenest one.
Really?
You know, I mean, they've got a lot of sounds. They've got a lot of things being thrown at them, you know. And, I mean, to me, it's a real active place. And my understanding was the creation of this show or this whatever it is, it's some kind of Alaskan village of long ago, and that tribe wants to go back there and populate that little abandoned village area. It used to be like a logging camp or something, but they say they have a name for him up there, and they say that's his property now. So we need to send somebody in there and make that arrangement with him. And so they got these I guess these Alaskan natives to go up there, young guys, and their job is to kind of communicate and let them know that, you know, they're wanting to repopulate that area and bring it back to, you know, a community. But right now I think I'm only on like the 4th or 5th episode, and I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, some of the stuff, you know, it all deals with supernatural type stuff, and you know, again, like in our episode, you know, that's what I talk about is him being supernatural. You know, he's not going to show you himself until he wants to. And
what channel is that on?
Yeah, what channel is that on?
I think it's on the Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay. They got a lot of good shows.
Alaskan Monster or something like that. And I just come across it, and first episode, I mean, it's pretty awesome. I can't stop watching it.
Yeah.
Give everyone your login information.
It's on the TV. I don't know what it is. I just click that thing like that. But anyway, yeah, that's a pretty cool show. But I was wanting to kind of make a comment, you know, on that story that you were telling, and I don't know if you guys want to broadcast this or what, but I'm going to say it, and I'll leave that up to you guys if you want to leave it in or not. But, you know, people always think, you know, to conjure these things up, you know, you got to have some kind of, you gotta slap your leg 3 times and cross your eyes and turn around, and you can, summon these things. You know, I was always told that, you can call upon these things, by just saying their name or just talking about them. They'll come around. And, again, whatever agreement you think you get with these things, it may or may not do what you're asking, because these are all tricky spirits. Their goal is just to torment people, take souls, take lives. And, I know, like I said, I see a lot of these, what do you call it, murder cases, and, so-and-so had to do this grand ceremony, call the devil, and had to build this fire, put hot dogs out there, call him up like that, But, you don't need all that stuff. You just need real hamburger meat. No, I'm just kidding. Meat gravy. No, I'm just kidding. But, no, just like, if you need the Creator or God's presence or help, you come to Him, talk to Him, call Him, and He will answer. And the same way with these things, and that's why, they always say, don't name them, don't name these things, or they're going to come around, they're going to cause, havoc, because you're inviting them. It's different when you don't invite them. You might have some kind of way of getting rid of them, but if you're inviting them, it makes it hard to get rid of them. And, I'd like to say just that much, but, I'll leave that up to you guys, what you feel, because I know every knucklehead out there probably out there calling all kind of stuff out there.
So after that episode we did, I got a story. My friend, Rob, shout out to Classic Wolf Podcast. Anyways, we were on this live on Instagram, and my friend James from the Right Potatoes, we were just all on live on Instagram one night, and James was asking me like, "How's your new podcast going?" And I was like, "Man, it's going good." I was like, "We just released our episode with DW," and then Rob was saying, "What's that?" So I said it. Well, I didn't say it. I think James said it. He said, "Dear woman," and then, but it was nighttime. Dang, it was like 10 o'clock, so I didn't say it. James said it, I believe, and then Rob said it. He said, like he just said it, like, because he knows what it is, but he said it, and then he said it again, and I swear there was, like, he had his camera on him, and behind him, I swear there was something that either dropped in his closet or moved in his closet, and I was like, what was that? And he turned around, and he was like, what? And I was like, yeah. I was like, dude, something dropped or something moved in there in your closet. I was like, I'm not kidding. And then he thought I was joking, because we joke around a lot, but I was like, I'm serious, dude. Like, I don't know if you heard that or I seen it. I seen something move or something. He said, yeah, right. He was like, he's stupid. Like, I don't know. We're just like stupid with each other, but I was being serious. I was like, bro, like, I'm serious. Like, I was like, maybe I'm just tripping. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe. I don't know. But, and I know, like, especially at night, like, don't, like, say it. Like, 2 or 3 times at least. Anyways, he was like, I think he said it one more time. I was like, dang, quit saying that. I was like, dang. And we're all on live and stuff. And anyways, we're just talking. And I said, dang, quit saying that. I was like, just say DW. I was like, that's it. I was like, or don't say it again or something. And we were just like talking about it. Then we moved on to something else. And then we got done. And I think he messaged me like the next day. And he was like, man, I think he said, like, I shouldn't have said that, because I think when we got off our live, like, my blinds are moving. They were just shaking on their own by his window. Dang. Yeah, and he was just saying, like, he's like, yeah, so probably won't say that anymore. I was like, I told you, dude. I told you, like, you said it like 2 or 3 times, and I was like, you call on that stuff, you know, like, I mean, I don't know what you did after that. I was like, hopefully you smudged or something, but, like, these are real.
Classic wolf.
That's classic wolf podcast, everybody. Go give him a hard time.
I thought you was gonna
Don't say
say
that.
he got that hoofed like that, boy. All the way. No.
He was okay. So out there, I don't know if you've heard anything out. It's God dang it, I forgot where he lives, but he's Pima, and I'd say close to Phoenix or whatever. Forgive me, Rob, but they have this thing called the hoofer. It's like half man, half horse. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what that's what he talks about out there.
You know, like I mentioned, you know, before, you know, there's a lot of entities and beings out there like that. And you have to remember the origins of those. Most of those origins, they were a person that did something that the creator didn't care for. I mean, something super bad. And so they were punished. They were punished that way. And so there's a lot of beings out there like that, you know, wherever you go, you know. I always hear, you know, stories about, you know, different things, these half human, half animals. And I think about that, you know, and anyway, I've heard stories about that too. And, you know, I was trying to think of the origin story of that being, and right now I'll have to call some people and see if I can get that story on that origin, because I've heard a lot of stories about that in that Arizona area.
Whoa. Yeah, he did an episode about it. I think he might have done 2, but it's just him driving around at work, and he was talking about that, and then he brought it up on, I think, when I went on his show. He kind of talked about it a little bit, but I don't remember him talking about it before that, because he said he told us at college, but I was I don't remember you talking about the hoofer, but yeah, he was like explaining it, and I was like, dang, that's pretty scary. Like,
you know what I think is crazy right now, you know, because of this, you know, I've had several people come and tell me their stories and stuff like that, and you know, I've been hearing stories of like I don't know how you say it. I believe you say it Minotaur.
Yeah.
Half bull and half man.
Oh, yeah.
You know, people's been seeing that in certain different areas. You know, there's been sightings here in Oklahoma and Texas and Arizona, and even up in the Colorado area. You know, natives are telling stories that they see these entities. And you know, again, you know, I know there's probably an origin story to that being, you know, because there's a lot of things out there, you know, supernatural beings, or what the white man likes to call demons. You know, there's thousands and thousands of them, and they roam this earth. This is their domain. And so with that being said, you know, I never question when I hear, you know, stuff like that. Another one that I've been hearing a lot about, I guess Europeans call him Pan, you know, but, you know, up around Montana, they call him the Goat Man. And, you know, there's a lot of stories about him too, you know, half goat, half man. And one of the stories that go along with him that I've heard, you know, there's several creation stories of this being, and just like the DW, you know, like you said, you know, there's different stories, but one of the ones that kind of, I don't know how you say, I can understand, or it makes sense to me, you know. I want to say it's the Dutch or German, one of the two, that they believe in a being like that in their old country, and they brought it when they came here, you had a lot of immigrants come from that country. They brought their ways over here when they came, and one of them was that goat man type entity. And how those guys describe him is he's a handsome, blonde-haired man, and he's always dressed to the nines, meaning real sharply dressed. But the difference is he's got hooves for feet, and he has supernatural abilities. But again, he's out to get people, to devour them, and take souls. So I heard a story like that, and I thought, wow, that makes sense why it's over here. Why people are seeing it, because that area that they talk about is got a lot of German and Dutch, how you say it, descents in that area. So
That reminds me of that movie. You ever seen The Witch
Oh yeah,
with that black Phillip?
hated it.
You didn't like that movie? Did you ever see that movie, The Witch?
I loved that movie, man. I thought that was that goat, man. He was keen, boy.
Well, that was creepy.
Spoke.
Yeah,
It's
when
Philip.
Yeah, Black Phillip.
Yeah, that was
said-
creepy. Actually,
That goat said, "What up?"
Well, I was wondering if that was based on like any kind of like folk tale, because I think it said it in the like a New England folk tale, but I never heard that story before. I didn't know.
Well, again, you got to really study your history. When those pilgrims came, they really believed in witchcraft. It wasn't like just, it was witchcraft. They were like Indian folks. You tell them about somebody practicing witchery, they took it very serious.
Yeah.
They knew. And they had their how you say, their ways of dealing with that. Like if someone witched you, they had their little things that they did way back then. And people always say, really hound on those guys for that Salem witch trial. But I don't think people really understood, that time and era of those witch trials. These people were afraid of this. This wasn't just, this is what you see on TV, somebody flying through the air on a broom. No, this was real deal stuff, that they brought from their old country when they knew things like this. And so, to answer your question, yes, I watched it and I loved it, and I'll watch it again and again. And I'll be floating around, fire at Greenleaf. No, I'm just kidding.
I think the buildup was just slow for me. I don't know. It was just, I guess you have to put your mind in that time. Like you're kind of just out there in the middle of nowhere, like that family was, and they're just being tormented by this being. And do they know it's a witch? I can't remember because we've seen it in theaters and we were the only ones in there.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. I mean, to me, that was a real cool movie. But again, I kind of considered that an Indian movie because you had, that stuff that went along with it, from the get-go. I don't know, maybe it's just me because, I've heard so many different stories. I knew from the get-go, what was going on. When he was having problems, when his church basically kicked him out of that community, I already knew right there, he's out of the protection, and he was arrogant, like a real Indian guy, he knew everything, He was holding those TP meetings every Saturday, but Friday night he was at that mint. No, doing those things, and then Monday morning, no. But that's the way he was, and so I don't know. I just really loved that movie, and then when I seen them starting to talk about that wolf that took that baby, and those are like creek stories. To me, I was like, dang, this is Muskogee. I was going, what? No,
Well, that's what it reminded me of too. Some of those stories like that,
And then when what do you call it? That boy, he went into the woods, and they start seeing the animal, and we've got a lot of stories about those spirit animals, messing with you, and see, that's another thing. I mean, people today, I guess, everyone's so colonized. I know everybody likes to use that word, colonized, but everybody's that way. If we didn't, then we wouldn't be living the way we live today. We're disrespectful to Mother Nature. We're disrespectful to humans, and we're also disrespectful to our Creator. And if we were, or we knew better, we wouldn't be doing those things. But when that little boy went out in that woods and saw that animal, what was it, a rabbit or something? And they tried to shoot it and backfired. And then he ended up at that auntie's house, and she had her way with him. No, but made him corrupt. No, I'm just kidding. But to me, that was just all. That was just awesome. Whoever made that movie really did their homework on that period. If you, like I said, if you understood that time, these guys really believed in stuff like that. And just like Indian folks, we had our remedies to take care of those things. But again, the premise of that movie was, he wasn't living right. He was living that. He was lying up to that day he died. He tried to put that blame on his daughter for, what was it, selling his wife's cups or something like that, dishes. She got all mad. So you made me take the blame. So, Daddy, no, you made me take the blame.
I gotta watch it again.
So I'm real Indian man right there.
I'm more grown up now, so maybe I'll like it. Well, another one I hated was what was it called? It was Rob Zombie's Salem Lot or something like that.
Oh no,
Lords of Salem.
Lords of Salem.
I hated that one. That one was so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was so excited for that one too, because Rob Zombie. It's Rob Zombie. Oh my god, and I think we went, and then there's like 4 people in there. We went at like midnight, and God, that movie was bad. I was like, oh man, what is this? Have you seen that?
I don't think I've seen it.
watch
I'm not a
it.
huge Rob Zombie fan.
I don't know. You could watch it.
After
You might like
Halloween,
it.
I just couldn't do any more of his.
I don't know. It was just, oh man, I didn't understand like where he was going, and I thought it was gonna like Salem's Lot. Like I thought it was something like that, or really scary, blow my mind. But she just walked around. It was a deep radio DJ, and I think Rob Zombie was in it. He was like the co-host of the radio show, and I think she was if I can remember right, I think she's being taken over by some form of witchcraft, and I don't know. There's the ending's weird. It's really weird, dude. I just didn't understand it. I was like, I don't know.
One of the best like native witch movies I've seen is Eyes of Fire. Have you seen that one?
Tell me about it.
Well, it's like this soul boy gets kicked. He kind of gets excommunicated because of adultery, and he and his family kind of are pushed out of the village or whatever, and then they're haunted by these old Native American spirits.
Now you guys gonna have to send me those titles. I have to watch this one.
Yeah, that Eyes of Fire. It was on this set that I got that had it's like a folk horror box set. It had Clear Cut on that with Graham Greene, and then it had this Eyes of Fire. But like a lot of those old folk horror tales, it's all about witching, But that Eyes of Fire, it's got like a native element. They're like Puritans or something like that. They look like pilgrims, but I know they're not. But he was like got caught, snagging someone else's wife, and then they kick him out. And he has to move like way out, and then these old native spirits come and haunt his family, and then they witch his kids, and he's got it's good. It's from like the 80s though, but it's good.
Dang, I'll have to see that one. I haven't seen that one either. There's a lot of movies I ain't heard of. you know, that everybody keeps giving me. They'll tell it to me, but they won't send me the names. I wanna start watching some of these because I
I'll
ain't
send
seen
it to
them.
you.
I ain't seen them, but I'd love to hear it, especially that one and that one you're talking about. You know, those sound pretty keen. I like.
You'll probably understand it more than I'll probably have to watch it again. That was back in 2012 or 13. I don't know. I'll probably have to watch it again, but I just can't put myself to go through it again.
Yeah.
But you'll probably understand it more than I would, and you would probably have to explain it like The Witch. Like that's a great like explanation of it because I didn't get a lot of things like you guys were talking about. I'm too colonized, but
Well, there's just like a lot of symbolism in that movie.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like all the animals.
see, I missed all that.
Like I got like a lot of those references, but you know, I'm not really like I'm looking for it. It's just like you said, like he's chasing that rabbit, and I thought, oh, that trickster, he's gonna get you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because that's in Muskogee culture. That's rabbits is like the trickster spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was, so there were some things in there that I thought, oh, okay, I get it. And then it only just made sense to me, you know, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a slow burn.
True. Yeah.
There was another movie that was, I think, made by the same group that made that movie, The Witch, and it was right after that one, and I can't remember what it was called.
I think it's called. There's
You did the lighthouse.
Hereditary.
Yeah,
Lighthouse.
okay.
Yeah.
Hereditary. That one was pretty cool too.
Is that good? I haven't seen it yet.
Now I'll say it's kind of cheesy in parts, but you know if you listen to the story, you know I will say that's a Meskwaki story. No, I'm just kidding. But no, you know it. To make a long story short, you know that at the end, this woman's mom was actually a witch, and she never told her family that. And at the end, she wanted her and that granddaughter to kind of live on forever. So they had this way, and at the end, you'll find out what they did to kind of make that so. And you know, when it comes to witching stories, you know, I don't think there's anybody out there that can top a Muskogee. And so when I seen that movie, I said, dang, that sure enough is Muskogee right there. Boy. I said, dang, that must be Arbika bunch right there. God.
Hey, well, there's that episode too. If y'all have Shudder, Creep Show. They made a TV show out of that old.
They updated it, huh?
Yeah, they updated, but it's a TV show, so it's like episodic. It's kind of like Twilight Zone. Nothing to do with other. I mean, there's no recurring characters. It's its own separate story, kind of like Tales from the Crypt.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I don't remember what season it is, but there's this one about this haunted dollhouse, and so her dolls are like murdering, like, or moving. It starts out kind of slow, like. It's moving stuff around. Like she's very like OCD about her dollhouse, and then she'll like wake up the next morning and like a chair will be moved, and she's like, "Hey, like how did that happen?" But she's like talking to these dolls like they're real people, and then she like move it all back. But then it kind of gets worse and worse and worse until like she wakes up and like one of the little child dolls' heads is like cut off, and like in like the baby crib or something. And she goes to like tell this toy maker or whatever, like the toy store owner, about what's going on with her dolls. And he's like, well, you know what you need to get? You need to get a Native American doll because they're warriors. And so he like sells her like this little Native American doll, and then she puts the doll in there, and they kind of like battle it out.
Whoa. What?
Yeah, man, it's pretty cool. I ain't gonna tell you what happens, but
Whoa. Drop that login account.
Yeah.
That is
that movie.
that is.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's like I think the login is chris.hill.
Damn, we need to have
Amazon.
We need to have a movie night.
I know.
Well, we could all watch this, you know,
Yeah.
because you guys are naming some pretty cool movies I never heard of, and
Yeah.
and I'd love to see those. And I was thinking, you know, There was a old TV show. Y'all still got y'all's phone out?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's if they sell it. You know how they sell those old TV shows. I think it was called Night Stalker.
Oh yeah.
And the
Kolchak?
yeah, that
Yeah,
Carl
yeah.
Kochek. He
Yeah,
used to
yeah,
go and he used to go investigate all these monsters and
Yeah.
stuff and
It
ghosts.
was the dad from Christmas Story.
And he
Oh, really?
That was a cool show.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would redo those and get a real ending in there to kind of consult.
Did they ever do a native storyline in Night Stalker?
No, but I mean, if you look at it, I mean, those are, you know, a lot of the things he went after were
Yeah.
these supernatural things that you don't hear in mainstream anymore, and a lot of them were real native beings.
Yeah.
Of course, they changed the names of them, but
Right.
you know, that's the way I looked at it. Again, I consider that Carl Kochek character, you know, I thought he was Indian. Must have been full blooded.
I think she's beating that Kolchak fedora over there.
Uh-oh.
That's what it looks like.
So you
had
have
that
to,
white
have to
fedora.
let me have that when I go ghost investigating. Boy, we busting in there, raincoat and that hat, boy.
That's what I wish they would do with Reservation Dogs, Big's character, the cop, because he's into conspiracies and cryptids and all that. I wish they would do a spinoff with him investigating that stuff on his own.
Yeah.
We talked about that on the intertribal chat, but I wish they would do that. We'll write it.
Yeah.
Like, we will write it if you
Okay,
need us
so
to write it.
while I'm thinking about it too, because somebody asked me about that after we did the Bigfoot episode. Okay, so he found all of those fish heads. You've seen it, I'm sure. Was it episode 1
2.
or
No.
episode 2 on
1 or 2.
Reservation Dogs?
I think it's 1.
It's at the very end. It's like an end credit sequence. He's like looking, and there's all these like catfish heads, or like all out and like on this field, and he goes, looks like Bigfoot. But like,
Bigfoot activity.
have you heard? I've never even heard of like Bigfoot and like a catfish head or something like that.
No, what he's probably referring to is because they say they like to eat fish.
Oh, okay.
They love fish, and I don't know. That's the one thing. If you really want to get to him, you put that keen fish out there. But I've heard a lot of stories of, you know, people going out fishing and they run across him, or they come and they clean those fish, and you know they go inside, you know, wash up, and they come back out and it's all gone. Got a note on the picnic table saying a hoe. No.
I owe you.
Motto.
So, you
Well, that
hear
makes sense.
you will hear a lot of stories of them, you know, eating fish.
Eating
you know.
fish.
And so, I don't know about him eating all this other stuff that, you know, they always say he eats humans and all that, but
Yeah.
main thing he likes is fish. So
Yeah.
and they say sometimes, you know, you put that out, you know, he'll give you a gift in exchange
For a fish.
Yeah, so he'll leave you something. So might be that big old husk, but it'll be all right too. I don't know. No. That's his sign of saying "doodah hey," as those Pawnees say. No, I'm just kidding. But
That bag, that paper bag.
God, it's on flames, boy. You be trying to stomp it out. No. So dang that Bigfoot guy. What kind of ways does he have?
It's a mystery.
But, but no, I mean seriously, they do say that he'll leave you gifts if you know he. They also say, you know, he likes things that are usable, you know, like strings and, you know, sinew and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, you know, if you're looking at to maybe communicate, or maybe you need that song, I don't know, you know, and you can give him something and he'll bless you with something. So
I thought one of the keenest things that came out of that Bigfoot episode was that footage. Was that like in Woodward? Where was that at? That somebody sent you of the houses? Remember that?
Oh yeah, that was in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
In, Forest.
Yeah. I want to go there,
She
man.
sent me. Yeah, she said, "Oh God, my phone's over there." But yeah, it's somewhere by these soccer fields, but past that, way out. And she ran into these made houses of huge. You've seen the pictures.
Yeah,
huge,
man, it was
like logs and like the ones you sent us.
It was like
But
three
they were
of
like,
them.
yeah, there was 3 of them, and she was like, I don't know if they're homeless or if it's like Bigfoot or.
Yep.
She's, I don't know, like, but she's like, they're out here. I was like, dang. But I was like, I'd like to go check those out in the daytime, in the morning time. But everybody, go follow us on Unsolved Reservation Mysteries on Instagram. Go check us out. End of our episode right here. Go check us all out. Stay spooky. I don't.
We all ditched you.